sponsored program or activity and within the United States. So what that means is our jurisdiction covers campus, our residence halls, the buildings that you're in for your academic classes, and then programs or activities. So if you're on an athletic team and you're traveling with your team for a university sponsored activity, Title IX has jurisdiction if something were to happen if that team is off campus but traveling. It no longer does apply to study abroad when those classes are abroad in different places. It has to be within the United States. And it doesn't apply for any off-campus location. So we know we have some apartments that are close to campus, but technically off campus. So Title IX doesn't have the jurisdiction to remedy any of those behaviors that would happen. And one of the things that we did was we worked really closely with student conduct when we were updating our policy to make sure that we were in compliance. And we kind of shared our definitions for some of those things that I named beforehand. So if we find that there is behavior that has happened, but it falls out of our Title IX jurisdiction, we forward that over to student conduct, and student conduct takes the lead on investigating. And if there needs to be a conduct conference or a conduct hearing, they take the lead on it. So just because it falls out of our jurisdiction in Title IX doesn't mean that that behavior goes unchecked, or we just kind of don't do anything about it. We still do something about it. It just might not be through our office specifically. So that's one of the things that was a huge change with these new regulations that came out. And one of the other things that's important on our webpage too, I know there was some information that was pulled. We do have our resources, which I know was pulled, but off-campus and on-campus resources. If you ever are in contact with someone who might be a victim of a sexual assault or sexual harassment, these are those resources that you can give to those person, to that person. And another thing that's on our webpage that I'm very proud of is our bystander intervention. We do bystander intervention training with all of our Title IX conversations and things like that we do now. There are the 5 Ds to bystander intervention, and we adapted this from ihollaback.org. They have a lot of great resources on their website too for bystander intervention in certain situations. So I urge you to take a look at them. And we also just finished our bystander intervention week on our social media. We now have an Instagram for our office. So if you're on Instagram, please check us out. We are YSU_Title IX. So we just did our bystander intervention, all of the 5 Ds on our Instagram page. So that was pretty fun too. And we will be pushing out more content that relates to our office and all the things that we do. With that, I'll turn it over to Mark. Do you have anything to add? I know it was a little quick recap.
Sure, absolutely. Hey, we can't thank you all enough. Student Government Association and all the leaders that we have on our campus. We're so proud to have an opportunity to partner with you all. At the same time, we all have a duty and responsibility. It's our duty and responsibility, just like yours, to keep our campus safe. So we believe and we subscribe to, we encourage and we invite people. If you see something, say something. If you hear something, say something. If you're confused about a situation or have some questions, come on over, WebEx us, give us a call, send us an email. You can even send some things in an anonymous through our Maxient, as well as if you don't want to send it to both Molly and myself, you can do titleix@ysu.edu, and it's going to come straight to the office. And I think that is important. You all are champions for our university, both on campus and off campus, and you're advocates to keep our community and our environment safe and free from sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, any type of sexual or dating violence and everything. And you can be that champion, not just for yourself, but for the rest of the community. And I know everybody that's in there, some of you all I know personally, and then I'm so thankful to meet some of you new faces here today. Aside from Title IX, our office kind of like, I use the analogy that we're the Amazon or the Costco or the Walmart or the Google of a little bit of everything. We're not just limited to Title IX, although Molly's our Title IX coordinator and we do some fantastic things. We also govern our equal opportunity as well as any policy as far as a university policy, and that's with the Board of Trustees, not particular department or division policies. They're the board ones. Under equal opportunity, just like you all have a right and protection and a responsibility around Title IX and sexual misconduct, you also have a right to be free from discrimination and harassment. And that could be discrimination and harassment, and that's linked on our page where Molly was. And that's any type of discrimination or harassment around protected class. And some of those protected classes are race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender expression, religion, and then there's also some pregnancy and childbearing and parenting provisions that apply underneath that too as well. So we're almost like the one-stop shop, and we want to make sure that as a university, you all know, and you can empower others to say, hey, this isn't cool, this is not on our campus, we don't stand for that. Hey, this situation might be, or I have a question, or maybe a roommate or a classmate, you know, they may need some guidance or some advice or even some consult. Give us a call, send us an email, send us a WebEx invite or Zoom, however, whatever platform and stuff that you need, because we want to make sure that we're getting that information out there, that you all are empowered and continue to be empowered to keep our community in a positive, healthy, living, learning, academic, and growing environment. So with that being said, I think I'll yield over to President Shaughnessy and the rest of the executive board and the leadership. Molly and I are here all the time for questions, and we can take some now, whether it's in the chat or however you all do it.
Does anybody have any questions for them? I was just wondering if you could briefly touch on the, because I know with Title IX specifically, it's very driven by the victim. And so like the options of somebody that comes forward has, like whether they go legal, whether they stay within the office, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely answer that. So what happens when we get a report in our office, and I did pull up where our reports are. So sometimes we get reports that have a reporting party who's named, and we usually reach out to them, and if it's not the victim, kind of get some more information on it. Sometimes we get reports that are anonymous and we don't know who they come from. But if we have an alleged victim, we do reach out to them. Sometimes it's a faculty member that comes to us and says, hey, this person in my class reported this, and so I'm reporting it to you. We reach out to that person. That person doesn't have to respond to our emails. It's really driven, like you said, it's complainant or victim or survivor driven through our process. If that person does respond to us, we usually set up a meeting, whether it's WebEx or in person, whatever that person feels comfortable with, and we go over all of those options. There is an option for supportive measures. So if someone needs a housing rearrangement, if they need some academic support, we reach out to their faculty on behalf of them and say we need to work out some academic support services for the student. Or like a no contact order. So that's equally given to both parties to say you can't contact the other person. So those are some supportive measures that we can offer. The person who is the victim or the survivor can be happy with those supportive measures and not go any further in the process if that's what they want to do. If they do want to go further in the process, they do have the option to file a formal complaint. And once they file a formal complaint with our office, they have the option to go the informal route or the formal grievance process route. So the informal route, it can be more like a mediation session. Maybe we're sitting down with both parties. Maybe we're doing it separately and seeing if we can come to an agreement that way. If we don't come to agreement that way, or if they want to go the more formal route, they can switch over to the formal route. And that involves an investigation with an investigator, and then a live hearing process with a decision maker in the live hearing, and then a decision that's rendered from the decision maker. One of the things that parties are allowed to have within our process is their advisor of choice. So that could be anyone that either party wants to advise them. We do have university trained advisors, people that Mark and I have trained, volunteer faculty or staff members to serve in that role. They know the A to Z of our process, what's going to happen next. So they're a great resource for that person that they're advising. But that person could also choose a lawyer or a family member or a friend or something like that. And that advisor is the person who asks the questions of the other party in that live hearing process. So they're the ones who ask the questions to the respondent or the complainant and any witnesses. They can have that advisor throughout the entire process, but they are required in that live hearing. If someone is a victim of a crime and we get that report, we always let them know that it is their option and their right to go through the legal system to make a report with either YSU PD or their local police department. We make sure that everyone who comes into our office is aware of that. And if we need to make that connection, like with our YSU PD, we're more than happy to do that. Mark, do you have anything to add that I missed?
Oh, that was pretty thorough and robust. Thanks so much, Molly.
Yeah.
I have to buy you a coffee or get you a bottle of water. One of the things we definitely want to share, because you all are student leaders and ambassadors on our campus, and we're so thank you for that. You could be one of the people that individuals or another student, maybe even some faculty or staff, they might share some things with you. You want to make sure that you're in a supportive space for them, and then you want to help guide them, to the right place. Our office, resources, different place, student outreach services, YSU PD, a wealth of services that are over there in Kilcolly, both on campus and off campus. Because if they're coming to you, especially if it's of a sexual nature, sexual misconduct, or you or they have been discriminated or harassed based on however they identify in any type of way, they're coming to you because they trust you. They're coming to you because you all have some sort of rapport and relationship, and they know that you're a person who has knowledge. You're an elected member of our Student Government Association, regardless of your position with the association. So with that is an honor, and you're able to provide our students as well as our faculty and staff, say, hey, I can help you out. Please share. Thank you so much. And get them pointed in the right direction. Don't feel like there's any question like you're like, oh, this is a dumb question, or we don't want to waste Mark and Molly's time and stuff like that. That's not how we operate. Every allegation that we receive in this office is taken seriously. We do our full diligence in doing an inquiry or investigation into whatever the allegations are. Sometimes it doesn't meet the criteria and we're able to remedy in a different kind of way. And sometimes it does have to go very formal and have to go through either student conduct or the grievance process. No matter what, we want to make sure that we're addressing whatever allegations or concerns or reports that are out there. Because at YSU, we say that we don't stand for any of those things.
Perfect. Any other questions?
So, hi, if a student had a question about like, okay, I had this situation happen to me, would this fall under Title IX? Would they be able to reach out and you guys would clarify if it fell under Title IX?
Yep, go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that, if we're in a, first meeting or something like that, we're going to listen to either the question or what happened and kind of get all that information. And then before someone leaves our office, they're going to have a very good idea of which policy we're looking at, which definition we're looking at, and a description of what would happen for the next step and what their options are. So we try to make sure that when people leave our office, they feel like they're informed. It's usually a lot of information and sometimes in a short period of time, and no one has to make a decision right when they're in that office with us. We're going to give them all the information we feel that they need, give them an opportunity to ask questions, and then they have time even later. I know sometimes when I get home from work, I'm like, man, I should have asked that question. They have the opportunity to do that too. So if they email us the next day or a couple hours later, they're still confused, they don't know what they're looking at, we're more than happy to clarify as best as we can.
Absolutely. That was a great question, Emily. We've had a number of different both faculty and staff and students. Like they'll call us up or they'll send an email. They're like, hey, I'm not quite sure this kind of what happened. Can you walk me through it or whatnot? And I say, and then we go through the same thing, just like Molly said. So I think that it's very important that if you're ever in doubt or have a question or unsure, feel free to, we always say there's no obligation. You all as students and whoever the alleged victim, as well as the possible respondents or the alleged, you all have rights and responsibilities as far as that's concerned. And we want to make sure that we're providing that information to you all so it's as clear and understandable as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for coming. I know that there's a lot of emailing going out about like Title IX discussions and stuff like that. So I really wanted to invite you guys to come talk to us. And I encourage anybody in student government to sign up for those opportunities as they come. But yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. And if anybody wants to talk offline and not comfortable in a space, please feel free to reach out to one of us directly or within the group or at our anonymous title9@YSU email address. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week and finish strong this semester.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So next we'll move into roll call. Gianna Pataglia.
Hi, everyone. Okay. All right. Justin Shaughnessy.
Here.
Avery Howard.
Here.
Tess Emerson.
Here.
Jeffrey Sedenak.
Here.
Kennedy Romeo.
Here.
Danya Kalea.
Here.
Nadine Jones.
Here.
Summer Abu Hashim.
Here.
Thomas Almsey.
Here.
Anthony Aventino.
Here.
Anthony Bonamaze. Balakrishna Brahmadam.
Here.
Austin Brown.
Here.
Julia Carson.
Here.
Michael Klein.
Here.
Shantia Cox.
Here.
Emily Crawford.
Here.
Angelo Elia.
Here.
Michael Factor.
Here.
Elsa Kahn.
Here.
Nicholas Coupieris.
Here.
Nicholas Latanzio.
Here.
Austin Latia.
Here.
Ellie Louisa.
Here.
Haley Lowe.
Here.
Faith Marsico.
Here.
Mackenzie Matilde.
Here.
Andrew Montgomery.
Here.
Lauren Myers.
Here.
Anthony Nakley.
Here.
Ashley Newton.
Here.
Dakota Obermeyer.
Here.
Kayla Slattery.
Here.
Dante Smith. Dylan Straley.
Here.
Danielle Wido.
Here.
Cassidy Unger.
Here.
Mariko Vaughn.
Here.
Emily Vero.
Up here.
Stephanie Virgilito.
Here.
And Ashley Willis.
Here.
Okay, that
Thank
is
you so
all.
much.
You're welcome.
So with that, I will look favorably upon a motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
Motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Perfect. All right. With that, we'll move into executive business, starting with the president and vice president's report. So Avery, if you want to start with the IPO elections panel.
Awesome. So first I would like to say thank you to Gianna AJ, and Emily for all participating on the IPO elections panel. I think some of the international students really enjoyed that conversation, and I know that we had a great conversation. So thank you all for joining that on Friday. That was super involved and super exciting. So thanks.
Perfect, thank you. We also have some new representatives. So I know our band kind of sends out a notification whenever they join now, and thank you for welcoming them. So Dylan Straley is our STEM representative. Austin Lautier, I want to make sure I'm saying, is our BCHHS representative, and then as well as Haley Lowe, she's also BCHHS representative, and then Julia Carson is a B Class C representative. So welcome them. There's going to be some new people in some of the committees. So I think Financial Affairs got some, and I believe Assessment Enrichment. So next week, make sure to welcome them and kind of show them the ropes of your committee. So. Next, we have the mental health and suicide prevention speaker. Me and Avery kind of figured out who would talk about what. So I don't know. Avery, are you talking about that?
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking up something. So yes, on November 12th, we will have Joshua Riverdale come speak about how to manage your mental health during kind of a crisis. So right now, particularly the pandemic, he's really going to be talking about how to manage your coursework, to manage the stress, to manage feeling isolated, all of those things, just about how to keep your mental health in check. And so I have a flyer that I'll share with you guys, just so you guys are updated. It doesn't have the date on it though. But we'll be sending out an email to remind people about the event for next Thursday. It's happening at 4 o'clock. And if you have questions or information about it, let me know, because I have the registration. And I can also send out the link. I'll send it out at the end of this, actually.
Okay, perfect. Next is, it just says Dr. Berardini, but Dr. Berardini is the Associate Provost of Student Success. And so a lot of what she does really kind of relates to student government, what we're doing. And so we're setting up regular meetings on a monthly basis with Dr. Berardini, with exec, to kind of talk about student success and where student government kind of fits in there and how we can help her and how she can help us. And so some of the things she oversees, like I said, is our YSU 1500, which is that required course for freshman students, orientation, so that whole orientation process, student employment, just to name a few. So we'll be meeting with her regularly.
All right, and about a week and a half ago, myself and the wonderful Faith Marsico attended an esports committee meeting. So if you don't know, YSU is considering starting an esports program here. And so really we're starting from the foundation. There's nothing really to solidify or concrete information. But right now we're thinking about starting a competitive esports program and also having a recreational one so that all students can use. Specifically for the professional competitive one, we're thinking about having scholarships and things like that to help with enrollment, and also looking at getting free sponsorships from Microsoft, since you have such a close relationship with them as a university. And then as for the recreational side, we're looking for spaces to be able to host set of recreational activities, and that will be open for all students. Right now, we're kind of looking at, for recreational side, we're looking at having just kind of game consoles and not looking at PC. And for the competitive side, we're looking at doing PC work and things like that. So if you know any students that are interested in kind of gaming in the esports community, please send them my way. I would love to have a chat with them about what they would like to see for this program. Or if you yourself is interested in esports or have a role in esports, please let me know, or let myself or Faith know about that information as well. Our next meeting will be happening November 13th, so try to do it before then.
Perfect. And then next we have our Tuesday tea time. So we talked about that a little bit. We actually, Avery and I might have a lead on a space that can have more than 2 people in it, because the space right across from our offices can only have 2 people at the moment. So we are contacting Dr. Crawford. I have an email out to her right now about getting that and then posting that on our website. So we kind of switched from a video to more of a podcast so students can like listen to it on the go, and different things like that. And I know we talked about it for the new reps. It's just kind of a time where we can sit down with administration and ask kind of like questions about COVID, but also kind of a more lighthearted way of like getting to know their office a little bit more, and what they're doing and the resources they provide to students.
So I just want to send a reminder about the representative hours and kind of answer any questions that you guys may have regarding that. So for representative hours, Justin and I and the whole exec committee do not expect any of you to have the whole completed 16 hours for this semester. One, because we kind of mentioned it late, and two, because COVID and things like that. So if you do not have 16 hours by the end of the semester, do not fret. Try to get as many as you can, but do not fret for the semester. Next semester, we will expect you to have at least 16 for a spring semester. And on speaking of that, participation is also super important when thinking about student government. So Band is an app that we use quite frequently and post all of our important information on there. So if you are not viewing Band as frequently as you should, please think about doing that for the long run, because you're missing out on important information that will help you communicate in these meetings and also be an advocate for students. So please make sure you're viewing Band, because we can see who is viewing Band and who's not viewing Band. So make sure that you're doing that.
And then also, I know we talked about the Myers donation, the last body meeting. And so Myers, we have a meeting this week. Again, we still don't really know what they want to donate, or if they want to like have a strong partnership. But we're anticipating some type of relationship with Myers to kind of frequently help the Penguin Pantry. So if you guys know, one of our campaign points was getting a long-lasting resource, a long-lasting source for our Penguin Pantry, and we're starting to believe that might be Myers grocery store. So the event, they wanted it to be kind of a little bit more low-key, like I said in the Band. They didn't want too much public like PR and stuff. They just wanted to really help the pantry. So they didn't want too many people there. So we had to cancel that portion of the event that was posted in Band. I kept it in there and I just renamed it to canceled, because I didn't want to just remove it. I can't like send out a notification that it's canceled like by canceling the event. So I just renamed it so that way those that signed up know that it is canceled and not just taken off of the event. And then Avery, if you want to talk lastly about the diversity training we hosted.
Sure, absolutely. So I have tasked the diversity, well, I guess I'll start back. Justin and I and Francine Hazy, who is in charge of the emerging leaders, did a diversity training with emerging leaders about like 2.5 weeks ago, I guess. And with that, we saw some great return in that, and we saw some great discussion. So we would love to also host our own exploring diversity session with SGA. In the Band, I actually created a diversity training subcommittee, and so I'm going to be setting up a meeting with those individuals to kind of talk about what our training kind of conversation about diversity is going to look like. If you're interested in joining that, please message me on Band, or I think it's public, so you should be able to just look it up and join it. But if you have problems joining it, please message me and I'll add you to the group.
Okay, perfect. And that concludes our report. So we move to the Vice President for Financial Affairs report, Jeffrey Senedak.
Thank you, Justin. All right, looking at the budget thus far for this fiscal year, we start out with $133,000 that we're able to give out to student organizations, again, which is broken down into the general fund and the new student organization earmark. So for the bill that we're funding today, we're looking to pull about $3,515 from the general fund, and we're looking to pull $412 from the new student organization fund. So throughout, the entire fiscal year thus far, we're looking at total appropriations of $4,315 from the general fund and $412 from the new student organization fund. And when you look at that, that leaves us with about $128,000 still to appropriate. Looking into financial affairs, I've been working with Justin and Lori about the wording for the FAQs that we're going to post on the SGA website about funding. So common questions like, how far in advance should I apply for funding, or what are the exact specifications with COVID being in place? Like, what can I receive funding for? So different questions like that that I've found to be pretty common. We're going to post FAQs on the website most likely tomorrow. Today, Tess and I did a takeover of the YSU Instagram account. So again, we're trying to kind of spread the word that funding is available. So a creative way that Avery thought of and we've kind of executed on is a takeover of the main YSU account page. So hopefully you all checked that out and heard myself and Tess kind of talk about involvement and how SGA is able to help out in that realm. So hopefully kind of getting out there, letting people again know that funding is available. We'll bring in more applications on my end for myself and my committee to review. With personal financial literacy, we got over 120 responses on the survey that we sent out that kind of Kennedy and I worked on, as well as Nick, to kind of create this survey to gauge first-year students' interests in learning about personal finances. So we had a really good response rate on that. And we found kind of what we thought would be the case, and that's that students are interested in learning more about, financial literacy, about how to manage a budget or manage their scholarships or their debt. And they want to do that in the form of a physical course that they are learning from an instructor. So moving forward with that, as mentioned earlier, that Dr. Berardini, she's kind of the head of the YSU 1500 classes. So we're meeting with her this week to kind of discuss more about that. We're also meeting with an instructor from the business college that already teaches a class that has some things that we want to implement into potentially our solution. So those are kind of the next step there. We have the data. Now we want to figure out what the solution kind of looks like. So that's everything in my realm. I'll pass it back to you, Justin.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to the Vice President for Student Life Committee report, Tess Emerson.
All right, so we're trying to think of more fun virtual events right now to do for fall and the rest of the semester. As you know, everything has to be virtual right now. Hopefully that changes in the spring, but for now, we are thinking of a few things. This November, we are going to try to do a virtual sip and paint. So we'll have, I was going to originally plan on having someone, sorry, it's a little loud back there right now. Having someone from the art department go ahead, like an art, a senior. I thought this would be a good opportunity for them to do a virtual sip and paint, but they haven't responded yet. So Kennedy, I forget the name already, offered a cafe around here that's gonna be, probably a good option, and they could offer even paint supplies to provide for the event that students can come and pick up. So if they don't have the supplies, they can still, participate in the sip-along. And then also we have a MTV Welcome to My Crib event we're gonna try to do where we have, oh my goodness, hold on one second, can you hear me? Okay, sorry. MTV Welcome to My Crib event where we're going to try to have, students around campus, whether it's their dorms or their apartments or, frat house, whatever it is, where they have a, if you've seen MTV Welcome to My Crib, they have a little tour of their house and just making it funny. So we'll have them submit it over to our SGA, Instagram account, and then we can post them and have people vote. And then we'll have like a little gift basket for the winner. And then we're also going to probably do a door decorating competition as well with the same kind of method where we post on social media and have you vote and another prize. And then we're going to do that for December as well for a more, holiday winter theme. That's all.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We'll
Thank
move
you.
to the Assessment Enrichment Committee report. Kennedy.
Hello, everyone. So I have kind of a short report today. As we talked about in the last body meeting, we filled out the Why I Vote cards, and they are displayed on the first floor of Kilcawley Center on a bulletin board for everyone who filled them out and turned them back in. Thank you very much. Danya will be posting photos of those cards, I believe, tomorrow for Election Day. And so this is also my opportunity to remind everyone to please vote if you have not already done that. Next, regarding the Penguin Pantry, again, we spoke about advertisements being made so that they can be posted on campus, both in flyer form and then also on televisions in the different academic buildings. So thank you to the people who have created advertisements. Those are being printed, and then we will be hanging them up around campus eventually. Also, solicitation letters for local businesses to ask for donations. I know that my chair, AJ, sent out an email, I believe last week, opening the floor for anyone from different committees who were interested in potentially writing a letter. And so if you either did not see that email, or if you would still like to participate in that and kind of have just not said that you were interested, please email either myself or AJ and we can get you set up with that. Also, at the end of today's meeting, we'll be emailing out the November sign up for the Penguin Pantry, particularly November 19th. We need close to 60 volunteers because that is the end of Greek Week, and we will be collecting and distributing donations, both for the pantry and also for the United Way and other local nonprofit organizations. An idea that exec kind of threw around last week that regards the pantry is that moving forward, we would like to reach out probably to Target, but potentially to a different business, and look into purchasing plastic reusable plates and bowls for students to use when they come to the pantry. And we would provide them with like a scrubby, like the scrubbies that you can fill the handles with soap so that the students could then wash and reuse the plastic plates. And we recognize that we do have a population of homeless students on campus who may not have the resources to clean the plates or to carry them around with them. So we would still have the option of just taking the paper plates, but in an effort to reduce waste, we would like to offer the plastic ones that are reusable. So that will be happening hopefully in the next couple of months. And then my committee is still working on our surveys that will be going out at the end of this semester, one about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and one about COVID. And so if there are any questions that you guys feel are extremely important that you would like to include in either one of those surveys, please let either myself or AJ know, and we can talk about it as a group and kind of decide what questions we're going to include in those, which there's been a lot of discussion on it already. And I think we're wrapping up what we want to include, but if anyone has any ideas, we are more than happy to hear. And I think that is it for me.
Perfect, thank you so much. We'll move to the public relations report. Danielle.
Okay, so first we're working on 3 videos. One's gonna be the National Candy Day, that's November 4th. We're doing a contest on social media, and then the winner is going to get a candy goodie bag. The second video is going to be the Veterans Day, which is November 11th. We were going to do a video to thank and support veterans, as like not every soldier comes back with like easy transitions. So we're kind of playing on a lot of the SGA's mental health stance right now, since the Veterans Affair that YSU is already doing like a traditional thank you video. And then our third video is going to be on World Kindness Day. It's November 13th. It's going to be spreading kindness throughout YSU. That's all we're working on right now.
Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, we don't have any unfinished business, so we can move into new business, but first, if we can, just looking at time, we'll start with SBF 2020-03 because that will require voting. So for that, I'll go ahead and yield time to Nicholas Kubiris, Chair of the Financial Affairs Committee.
All right, hello everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me well. My Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty, so
Can hear you.
Oh, thank you. All right, so last Monday, the Financial Affairs Committee, we had 4 student organizations reach out to us, and definitely one that was interesting, so I'll get into it here. We have Section 1, the American Institute of Chemical Engineers has appropriated the sum of $715 from the general fund to defray the cost of registration for their 2020 virtual ALCHE annual student conference. being held on the 13th. And then Section 2, the Adventure Recreation Club of Youngstown State University is appropriated the sum of $412.50 from the new student organization earmarked to defray the cost of marketing materials to promote the club, including 51 club t-shirts and 1 flag, by unanimous consent of the financial committee. So this appropriation exceeds the $200 cap for new student organization funding outlined in Section 201, subsection G of the financial cap. And then I have Section 3, the Guitar Association is appropriated a sum of $800 from the general fund to defray the cost of concert fees for their guest artist masterclass performance with Jim Campolongo and Luca Benedetti. And then Section 4, we have the Panhellenic Council and Interfraternity Council that appropriated the sum of $2,000 from the general fund to defray the cost of registration for their Association of Fraternity Leadership and Values, which is AFLV. And that conference can be held February 1st. So that is all of the organizations who have came to us, and those are the Financial Affairs Committee's recommendations.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and first I'll read you a statement sent in on behalf of Panhellenic Council and IFC. So it says, on behalf of Panhellenic Council and Interfraternity Council, we're requesting $2,000 for the Association of Fraternal Leadership and Values AFLV conference in February. AFLV is a conference for Greek leaders on our campus to further their leadership skills and better our Greek community through attending workshops, discussing recruitment tactics, new member education, how to host better philanthropy events, and many other topics. Due to the event being virtual, we were able to send 18 members from Greek life across our 3 Greek councils representing on campus, NPC, IFC, and NPHC. The funding for AFLV would better our Greek life on campus for years to come. Thank you for your time, consideration. Best, Hannah Thomas, Panhellenic Council President. And then the other one I have is a video from the Dana Guitar Association, and I will share that and hopefully we can hear it. Okay, can everybody see it?
Yeah,
okay,
we can
at
see
least?
it.
Okay. Tell me if you can hear it.
My name is Eric Thompson, and I am
Yeah.
president of the YSU. Our organization is looking for support in the amount of $800 to help us host a jazz guitar masterclass by 2 renowned New York City guitarists named Jim Campolongo and Luca Benedetti. This informational masterclass will take place on November 30th from 12 to 3 p.m. and will be open to the public. Thank you for your consideration.
No, not that. Okay. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so I think the speaker, it goes through the camera. So like my speaker is actually on the floor. So I don't know if you, I hope you guys can hear all that. Okay. But with that, now granted, like Nicholas said, that the Section 2, normally there's a $200 cap for new student organizations, and that does exceed the $200 cap. The recommendation was $412.50, which they are able to do by unanimous consent of the Financial Affairs Committee. I just want to make sure that was very clear before we moved into voting. So with that, if anybody would like to motion to open the floor to discussion, we can do that now. If anybody has anything they'd like to say. Okay, then I would look favorably upon a motion to vote on the bill as a whole.
Motion to vote on the bill as a whole.
Okay, second.
Second.
Perfect. Okay, so all those in favor of SBF 2020-03 say aye.
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 Sounds good. I know we did the chat last time, but I think that's more fun. Okay, all of those opposed, I think that might be better in the chat. If anybody opposes, you can put that in the chat. And then of course, any abstentions. And for the newer members, abstentions are for if you're involved in the organization or if there's some conflict of interest where you don't wish to vote on the funding. So any abstentions, we can also put those in the chat. Okay, perfect. So the bill passes, and we can move into our next one, which is we talked about it's diversity training. So we talked about in a report, Avery and I worked with Brenda Scott and you know, I almost said Faith, Francine, to host a diversity awareness or exploration event over the past weekend, the weekend before last, I think. Yeah, weekend before last. And it went really, really well. It was, I believe, from 9 to noon. And we did a quick brief introduction of like student government as a resource, and then really let them like lead the discussion as far as what's discussed and stuff. And so we're looking to kind of do something very similar for Student Government Association. We even had some people from assessment, so to talk about the the campus climate and looking through surveys and where like the university kind of is doing really well and where we're not doing so well. And so how do we apply that to the university? And what I really wanted to talk about here, and the reason why it says a new business, is there anything in that area that you think would be important to discuss when we're talking about something similar just for student government representatives, so all of you guys? Is there something that's important to discuss, something you want to see? Is it something you would love to attend, anything like that? Yeah. I don't know if Avery, if you have anything to add before we do that, but.
I'll give a little bit more information regarding like the specifics of what happened in the event, so that maybe that could help, spur some conversation. So it started out with Hillary Furman from Dr. Kaufman's office to discuss, kind of the data behind how students of color and variations are feeling connected to the campus. And so there was a collection from the NESI data from 2016, and Dr. Kaufman helped me, I don't know the other two that were done.
I think Noel Levitz, and then also the COVID survey we sent out. So
Yes,
it's like 5 years of data.
And so all of that was compiled through that office to kind of look at, like I said, how students are feeling towards campus. And so that kind of started the conversation of the variations between races and grades, because one was conducted for freshmen, and one was conducted for seniors. And so that gave us some insight as student government officials of how to deal with certain situations and what things should we start tackling. And so from that, then Brenda Scott and Provost Carol Bennett kind of took the ring and started talking about what diversity is and how that can be applicable to universities and to our jobs and far out then. And so that was a wide array of things that were covered through that. So it was race, it was religion, it was mental health, it was how do you approach the conversation of diversity in general. And so with that, I thought that would be super important to kind of have that be a conversation for student government, because we are a makeup of this campus and of this university. And also we come from different backgrounds. And so as people who are representing students and who are going out to speak with students, I think it's super important that we are knowledgeable about how to interact with those people and different people that don't usually particularly look or think or have the same privileges as us. So thoughts on that from there?
I don't know if you guys mentioned it during your discussion, just like I really think that addressing inherent biases is really important. You guys probably talked about that though.
I don't think we actually mentioned that, so that's a good point.
Okay, that's all I have to add to that.
Thanks, Amy. And we can even go into specifics of talking about if there are specific days for all of us that we think will work better, if there's a specific timeline you think we would ideally like to have this at the beginning of spring semester. So thoughts on that as well. Not everyone at once.
I think the spring semester would be a good idea. Just like the sooner the better, probably. So the first couple weeks of that, then you have time to build on it throughout the semester.
Thanks, Faith.
And then we're all off, I'm pretty sure, that first Monday after the semester starts for Martin Luther King Day. So maybe like that day, because most people probably aren't going to be traveling then.
Absolutely. Thanks, Emily.
All right. Any other discussion on that? All right, perfect. We'll keep you all updated. And like Avery said, there's a group within band that's also discussing that. So if you feel free to join that group, if you have anything else you would like to add to that. But with that, I kind of want to move into, and we have 4 minutes, so we'll go quick. Representative spotlight. So this was something that was brought up following our breakout sessions that we had within our colleges. And it was brought up by Nicholas Kupieris, and the WCBA group kind of discussed it. And it was a kind of a chance for WCBA to connect with their college representatives regularly. So weekly, having like a college representative being accessible to the WCBA college as far as questions and different things like that. But it also sparked a conversation of, should we look into something like that for all of our colleges, and having access to like a representative or something along those lines, like a certain hour a week or a different thing like that, different things like that, where you know, and it could be virtual. So like even just you're in your residence hall and you open your WebEx like room, personal room, and you're accessible that way. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? And do you think it's something that's feasible, looking at like time commitments and stuff? So I'll open that if anybody has any questions or feels like that's impossible or that's a great idea, let us know.
I think that that's a really good idea. I think it's a good way to kind of humanize our role in SGA and to actively meet with the constituents and the students we're here to serve. In terms of the time commitment, I think that varies. But as long as we have a majority of the seats filled per college, I'm sure somebody could swing an hour at least once a week. And so I just really think that that's a great idea. And it would give us a chance really to meet our students and hear their concerns.
And I think this is also like a great time. We talked about representative hours during COVID being difficult. Having this available to you guys to sign up, I think would be great. And I think it's probably like, as far as implementation, would be quite literally like a signup.com thing where we can, we'll know who's doing what time, what day, and then being able to share your personal room or something along those lines for students to join for that hour. But anything else anybody wants to say?
I just wanted to chime in and also talk about, so there's the really nice thing about doing something like this is that it's very mutually beneficial to both representatives and the college. So there's a few ways you could even do this along the lines of, you could host your own Zoom or WebEx and make it like a panel, or you could do a kind of like a weekly email where it's like a lot of people put in their questions and then you answer those questions and send out that email through all your like whatever college you're representative of. So for me, it'd be like I'd send out that email to all WCBA students and it'd be like those questions for the week and then our answers. So that way it kind of helps representatives when it comes to like, would this be time consuming? And it's like, no, because at any point in the week, you'd be able to answer these questions just as long as you answer it before the end of the week, so you can send it out to everybody. So there's multiple ways we can do this, but you know, basically it's very mutually beneficial to everybody, and I think that like we could all just be able to do it, and it'd be really nice too. Just like how AJ said, it really does humanize SGA.
I think Nick brings up a great point, because with the multitude of ways of doing this, I think it's also important to I guess meet with the representatives in your same college, because part of me feels like some of you may not even know like who else is on SGA that is in your college. And so like if we were able to like formulate a group, like a separate group on band, so like STEM has a group chat on band, WCBA has a group on band, and where you guys can talk about like the way you would like to do this, and kind of have a schedule like written out of like I don't know, Ashley does Monday from 4 to 5, or not Monday from 4 to 5 because you're here, Wednesday from 4 to 5, and XYZ does the next day, next week, you know what I mean? And so if you guys were able to create that in band and kind of have that dialogue started, I think that may be a good idea for how you want to do this necessarily.
And of course, we would want to roll it out to make sure that, because the last thing I would want to do is to start this and then like somebody goes on at a time that's advertised and nobody's there, obviously, because that's worse than, not doing it at all. So I would want to probably work on a strong system, and then roll it out spring, if that's something that you guys would like to do. So, as far as like Nick said, if we wanted to do it like a more email based way, if you want to do it WebEx, if we wanted to have something along those lines where it could even be like, I don't know. There's so many options, like I said. So like we'll figure that all out with you guys, and you guys can talk about it within your college groups, if that's something that you think would be very beneficial to your college, and how you think would be best to roll something like that out. But like I said, it's 5 o'clock, so I won't keep you guys too long. And I know some of you have class right after meetings, so if you guys have anything else you'd like to talk about other than including the diversity training, the representative spotlight, please feel free to reach out to us. But with that, does anybody have go ahead.
I would like to motion to table the topic of the representative spotlight.
Okay, so we'll continue that in unfinished business at the next body meeting. So try to think about it. You guys, you have 2 weeks until our next body meeting. So even if you want to bring it up in your committee meetings, kind of talk about it there, however you want to do it. But yeah. Oh, can we get a second for Avery's motion?
A second to move.
Perfect. Okay. So with that, we'll move into announcements. And like I said, if you have class or anything like that, I don't think Zoom really yells too much when you leave, so you should be good. But any announcements from anybody? Okay. I do have an announcement, and it's just for everybody. Just so you know, so I am committed to No Shave November. Just so you know, I'm not just like forgetting to shave. So just beware if you see me on a WebEx or something like that. I might have my camera off. I don't know. We'll see how this works. But with that, we'll move into advisory remarks. And I guess we can start with Erin.
Hi, everybody. Just a few thoughts. One, to follow up what Kennedy said, if you haven't voted already, please be sure to do so tomorrow. Please take a look at the pulse that went out to students today. Dr. Howard and Dr. Duronsky from the Counseling Center are going to be doing a session on civil discourse on Wednesday. So if you'd like some tips, some reminders on how you can engage in conversations with folks that might have different perspectives, that should be some really good information for you. And there's some other information about some additional testing on campus. So please continue to be safe, wear your masks, wash your hands, keep your distance. We're in the home stretch and I want everybody to be healthy. So take care.
Provost Smith. I believe you're muted still. Yeah, okay. Got it.
Thanks. So hello, everyone. So it's good to see all of you are staying healthy and doing all the right things. We're marching down the path to stand up spring semester with classes. I know that I've had a lot of remarks from students who were disappointed that we're once again having a virtual commencement this term. We really wish we could be face to face, but with the state guidelines, it's really impossible to bring everybody together or even to do breakout groups. So we realize that's disappointing, but these are difficult times for all of us. And I know that many students are taking the opportunity to have pictures taken of their graduation in their regalia, and they're doing it with those that they love and places that are meaningful. We will have a virtual ceremony, and we'll do what we can to make that as impactful and meaningful as possible. If you have any thoughts about that, what we can do to improve a virtual ceremony, please send those to me, because we definitely want to do this with you in mind. So thanks as always for your participation in making YSU great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And because of time constraints, if anybody has any remarks, I'll open for remarks. We won't go down the list of people. So if you have a remark you'd like to give, member remark wise, go ahead.
On the SGA Instagram this week, I just wanted to kind of let everybody know we're going to have a lot of polls and stuff on there regarding National Candy Day, which is on November 4th. And I would really appreciate it if everybody tried to participate in the polls and share them to your own stories to let people know that they're happening. Because sometimes, like, for the first couple of days after I post something, like, no one sees it until you guys start sharing it. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would participate in those polls whenever you see them.
Perfect. I also think there's a poll coming out real soon about something we talked about in exec, and it's about holiday music and when it should be played. So I'm hoping I win that argument, but I know Aaron feels very passionately against my argument.
I expressed my opinion. It doesn't have to rule over yours.
There is a academic senate, can I talk today? An academic senate meeting happening this Wednesday. So if you have any concerns, I guess academically, or thoughts about, ideas about spring break, or thoughts about next semester, thoughts about ad drop, those kind of things, please let me know or let me know so I could, let Senate aware of those things. And also if you're interested in, the minutes of that meeting, I can also get that to you as well.
Perfect. Any other remarks?
Don't forget to go vote tomorrow. Please make sure you do that.
I'm sorry, Nadine. I thought you were done, but those words were literally just about to come out of my mouth. Election day is tomorrow, so if you haven't voted yet, please be sure to do so. And that's all.
If I could just quickly reiterate what Kennedy had said earlier about the solicitation letters, if any of you would like to write one, there are still a few businesses left that we'd like to write letters to, so please reach out to me or her, and we'll get you set up. And the political science major in me is going to say exactly what Gianna and Nadine said. Please, please go vote tomorrow, please.
Perfect. Anybody else? Awesome. Well, that concludes meeting. I'll motion to adjourn after I say, after meeting, I strongly encourage you guys to go listen to Jingle Bell Rock. Great song. But I look favorably upon a motion to adjourn meeting.
I motion to adjourn. I am so sorry. I did that
That's
again.
fine. We'll do it. Also motion, Emily, second. Meeting adjourned.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.